see, I wasn't tuned into the future at that point. And once I got it, that's when the fun started. Now, this is probably the part you want to hear, because...
It was not fun for me.
See, and I gotta be honest, it wasn't fun for me a lot either, because, well, we got going, right?
We got going, and I figured out, oh my gosh, I have to talk to people. I know, people that know me are laughing, because it was my biggest fear. I was absolutely and utterly terrified of talking to other people. And I know some of you have heard this story before, but it was extreme. It was to the point where I would actually go into a convulsion from the fear. I was that terrified. And I was in a country where I really didn't know anybody, because I hadn't long been in the United States, so I didn't have a warm market. And like I said, I did it because Michael had a vision, and I could see it. I could see that he was really excited about this. And so I went on total trust. It's like, okay, I trust this man, I trust this vision, even though I don't understand it, and I'm really uncomfortable with it. But, you know, I'll go along with it, see where it goes. That was really where I started. And I tell you, in those first few years when we were building our business, so many times I lost it. I mean, I just totally lost it. It was so difficult for me. It was so hard. And so often, there were times when I just thought, what on earth are we doing? We're doing all this work and nothing's happening. We just, like, what is this thing? And we would sign up people and they'd disappear. And then we'd sign up more people and they'd disappear. Like, what are we doing here? And in fact, we got to the stage, we were, I guess, I don't know, about 3 years into building. And we had actually built a really wonderful group of people, a big group of people by that stage. And overnight, lost almost the entire downline. Not only that, we also lost our upline, because they just made a decision that this was not their company. And it was huge. I mean, it was this major, huge crisis. And thank God we had a very small handful of very dedicated people who did not make that decision. And Svana and Lisa were two of those people. Thank you. We can walk away and say, you know what? Let's go do something else. This is too hard. Or we can make a stronger commitment and say, no, this is not going to stop us. We're going to keep on going. We're going to turn around. We're going to start again. And we're going to make this work. Now, at the time, in retrospect, I can see that. That was such an extraordinary opportunity for us to make that commitment, because the depth of that commitment had to be so strong for me to get up and do it again. But at the time, I didn't see it like that. It didn't feel like, oh my gosh, what an amazing opportunity for us to break through and get up and do it again. I can see that in retrospect. At the time, it was just really, really hard.
So it looked bad. It looked really, really bad. It was what I like to call a dark night of the soul. And I would suggest that every top leader that you've seen up here has had that similar moment. And how many of you have had something like that? How many of you? Wow.
Wow.
Everybody. For those of you who didn't raise your hand, break out your calendar, it's coming. Doesn't mean you're going to lose your downline. But it could be a spouse, it could be a friend who, I don't know what it's going to be for you, but what I know is that in times of adversity, that's where the true strength comes. I don't know that I've ever gotten anything worth anything without some struggle for it. I don't know that I've grown in all the good times. I mean, it's great. I love good times. But when I look back, as Christa said, it's those hard times that forge the character. And that's why people in this industry, that's why I say this will fundamentally change the planet. Because this initiation, if you will, or this rite of passage or trial by fire, whatever you want to call it, we're helping each other become more magnificent human beings. That's what we're up to here. And yeah, it looks great. We got products, we got a company, we got checks. But that's really what we're up to. When all the money comes in, all the money spent, and at the end of whatever our lives are, we look back, I think that's what I see. That's what this is about. That's why I'm so proud to be ambassador of this industry. It's because of that. Because we're held during that time. We're not just cast out there and good luck and you're on your own. And this is when our friends pulled close to us. This was the time when we really saw who was who and what was what.
And I think for me, there was a very personal piece of that too, because I remember sitting down one day, having made the decision, okay, we got to start again. We've got to get up and, really make this happen. And I remember being on the phone with somebody, still shaking in my shoes, because I had to talk to somebody. And the woman that I was inviting hung up on me. And that used to happen a lot, actually. And because I really didn't know what I was doing. And I remember sitting there and feeling, I cannot keep doing this. I cannot keep living my life like this. And I suddenly had this vision, almost, in my head, where I saw my entire life being compromised by this fear. Every single area of my life it was like I was in this box, and I couldn't get out. And I saw in that moment, oh my gosh, this is my way through. This is a vehicle I can use to transform my life. And if I can transform my life, then I can go out there and transform a lot of other people's lives. So that was my first experience of having a why. We talk about having a dream, having a why. That was when I got mine. And I knew that I personally am so committed to my journey here through this life that I was not going to give up on that. So that was my point of transformation. Every time it got hard, which it continued to do, it still does, even now, I just go back to that. My job here is to be the best me that I can be. And I'm committed to that. And so whatever comes up for me, I go back to that, and it doesn't stop me anymore. So it's a huge, huge piece for me in that journey.
What's up for you? That's a little bit about our story, a piece of it. Maybe we'll share more later. But the question is, do you think you're going to hit adversity coming up? Do you think there's something in the future that's going to be, for you, equivalent of that? Yeah. I mean, any thinking person would get there's something coming. Here's the question on the other side of one of our crises that I've had to engage with. What do I do about it so that in that moment I don't just crumble or give up or see you later? But what do I do? So a little preparation would be helpful, do you think? A little preparation. If you know something's coming, if you know there's a hurricane coming, do you think it'd be a good idea to close the windows and close the doors and pick up the garden hoses or whatever people do? Bring the cat in. Make a whole movie out of that, couldn't you? Anyway, it would be smart. And if you know something's coming, if you think just because of the human existence something could come, would it be smart to prepare today? To actually, check in with your relationships, check in with the people around you, check in with yourself, take an inventory. What would happen if this happened? How would I deal with that? And if you go, I don't know, or I feel inadequate, or whatever, it'd be smart to start to build the alliance before the hurricane comes, right? Get with your neighbors before the hurricane. You check on me, I'll check on you, and something happens, we'll take care of each other. Wouldn't that be smart? That's the piece about team and community. And so here we are today, and we have that. You see, we have powerful relationships that we've built with people, that we have people we can turn to.
We have a lot of people in our team here who are so dedicated and so committed to each and every one of us. They've been here for years. They haven't gone anywhere. Through all the adversity. Do you think LifeForce has been around for almost 30 years as a company? You think during that time it hasn't gone through some hard times? You think Wayne and Jerry and Marjorie haven't gone through hard times? Oh my gosh. There's been times when what this company's gone through would have closed down hundreds of other companies, but it didn't. It didn't because of the people who were here. I mean, it's amazing, the people that we have as part of our team here. Extraordinarily dedicated, committed people. I mean, that's something that is rare in this world.
You know what? We and other people have gone through, we're here to help you during that time. That's what we're here, in our relationship with you.
And this is the way we can do that. We've got the answer. We've got the gift. We can go out there and say, here it is. I've got something I want you to look at. This is often called a business of duplication. How many people have heard that? This is a business of duplication, yeah? What does that mean? It just means that regardless of whether we want it or not, whatever we do, other people who are coming after us will do the same thing. But it's not just what we do. It's who we be in that process. If we, one of the most amazing realizations for me during this journey was to realize when I made the decision to do this business, it was a few years into doing it that I made the decision. But I made the decision. I'm going to do this. Okay, this is my path. This is my journey. This is what I'm going to do. When I made that decision, a little while later, I looked back and went, oh my gosh, I didn't just make that decision for me. I made that decision for thousands of other people. People who are coming after me. And that was a huge, mind-opening thing for me to realize if I made that decision for all these other people, what does that say to me about if this is a business of duplication? What does that call forth in me? It means that we have to be the very best us that we can be. We have to be the deepest, truest, most profound self that place to start from. Oh my gosh. What a platform to be able to step off from. What a foundation that we already have.